Okay, looks like we're up and running. Hello, hello. So, welcome to another week of Aero Lead Racing. We're nearly at the halfway point of the season in Season 15 GT7. This is Tier 3. Let me just turn my volume down. There we go. So, we've got sprint race and then a feature race at Watkins Glen coming shortly. So this is the newest in like real life track that we have in GT7 in terms of when it was added to the game. It's a really good one, really challenging, quite easy to get penalties, and the tyre wear is incredibly high around here. Hello guys, welcome. So yeah, let's go through the grid. We've got a new driver lining up in P16. This is Marismo. He is in the Peugeot RCZ. So I think he struggled a little bit in qualifying on his debut there. Then we got Ethan. Remember, Ethan came down from Tier 2 last season where he had podiums, and he's lined up 15th here in the Jag. Not enjoying the Jaguar at all so far this season, Ethan, but I have a feeling he'll be able to turn out a good result or two in the second half, or maybe even later today if he can recover from P15. Giuliano, we saw him get a podium on track in the sprint, I think last week in Suzuka. Had some very good pace there in the McLaren. He's lining up 14th today, so probably a little bit disappointed there. Jezza in the Lambo is in 13th, a little bit further back than where he was, I think, last week. And we've got Astro in 12th in the RCZ as well. So he dropped down from Tier 2 and he is giving Tier 3 a crack, and he's lined up at 12th there. Deco is in 11th in the GR Supra. Pretty low for Deco, I've got to say. Pretty low as well for Pagel in the Mazda. Didn't expect to see him down in 10th there. Anonyma in the Toyota FT1, I think he's in. Pretty good qualifying for him. I think 9th might be the highest he's qualified so far. Then we got Eroticos in 8th place, right next to his teammate, who I think's out-qualified him for the very first time this season, Senor Fak. So he's showing a little bit better around Watkins Glen. The Renault is pretty good everywhere at this point, it's got to be said. Well, everywhere we've been so far this season. So these two have a decent chance of both making progress in the sprint. We've got Spin in P6, our first race winner of the season in the... What is he in? He's in the Nismo, the GTR. Then we got Pyro in P5, pretty decent qualifying to get into the top 5. Prime Call in 4th, another good qualifying for him as well. These two always seeming to qualify pretty high. Same with Revenge, who's in 3rd place here. Then we got the two M6s. Well, this isn't too much of a surprise. We've got Peachy in 2nd place, out-qualified this time around by Kanata on pole position. The M6 is very, very good around here, even better around here than it is at other tracks in comparison to other drivers and their cars that they're in. So, we've got BMW Lockout. And then we've got the Chasing Pack. This is good news for Peachy and his quest in the championship. Kanata really far up there as well. Then we had Revenge, who's not going to be participating in the rest of the season, so he's no longer in the championship fight. But Pyro, Spin, if he could win more races, and Eroticos down in 8th, they are the ones to watch out for in terms of the championship battle, as the sprint race is going to get going now. 5 lights are on and they're out, and it looks like a fairly decent start by both of the BMWs. The Renault's incredibly quick, but there's not much room on the track for them to try and overtake. It looks like Peachy and Kanata go side by side into turn 1. Peachy looks like he's got the position, he's pushed his teammate out wide, and that might allow for Spin, who's had a fantastic start, up into third now, to try and chase them down, but it looks like he's coming under a little bit of pressure from Prime Colin Pyro, who've maintained their positions. Eroticos all the way up into sixth on his start, so this is pretty good for them. Let's ride on board with Pyro because we're all very close. We can see the BMWs lining each other up as well. Looks like Prime Cole's going to try and move around the outside. Is there going to be enough space for them? And it looks like a little bit of contact, and Pyro's going to go straight through and takes third place in all of that. Spins down to sixth. Everyone is very wide there. It looks like Eroticos has got himself the second penalty. Senor Fak is the one who went really wide and has dropped to the back. Then we got Marismo in last place. But meanwhile, at the front, Kanata very, very close to Peachy as we head into the next hairpin on the lap. Taking different lines through the corners. Pyro's stalking in the background as well. And it looks like Kanata's lining up a move on Peachy. He lost the position, he had pole position, and he's in P2 now. Peachy not giving him any room there. There was a bit of contact. That was on Kanata, to be honest. And he's coming back, and he's going to have to tuck in behind. But this has allowed Pyro to really close the gap as well as we approach the end of the first lap. The top five are all fairly close together. Then there's a small gap to Pagel and the rest. You just have to lift slightly for that corner, but it's very difficult with the dirty air if you're following cars. And it looks like Kanata's lost a bit of steam on his teammate there as we round the final bend. Pyro may be lining him up in a move for turn one if he's brave enough. It doesn't look like it at this point. Looks like Pyro takes a tighter entry into the corner, and we might see a move down at the bus stop. Peachy looking quite fairly composed at this point in the race. And oh, there's been a bit of contact between Pyro and Kanata, and it looks like Pyro's made it through somehow. Revenge still stalking in the background, maybe thinking about a move on Kanata. He has gone for it and got the position. So Kanata down 2 positions in 2 corners there. Maybe we need to have a little look as he's made a bit of contact with Kanata himself. It looks like Kanata's going to get that position back. This is allowing Pyro to just drive away, and Prime Call is now in prime position to take advantage of any mistake. It looks like Revenge sent it down the inside, has the position. Kanata's still all over the back of him. This isn't over yet. Kanata's going to try and move around the outside of the next heavy braking zone here. Maybe he's going to try a switch back instead. And it looks like he's going to get away with it. So Revenge still under a lot of pressure from Kanata. So Kanata's got the pace at the moment, but he has just been muscled out of a couple of positions here and has a lot of groundwork to do if he's going to get back into the podium positions. Prime Call's still very close to the back of this battle as well. So the fastest lap of 44.9 for Peachy. That is fairly good. I'd be surprised if that gets beaten for the rest of the race, especially with all the battling going on. So they're starting to spread out a little bit. Oh, 2.5 penalty for Pagel. He must have gone wide at turn 1. Same for Astro, who worked his way all the way up from 12th to 7th. He's going to drop probably outside the top 10 as a result of that. And we got Julio making good progress. Spin went really high on lap 1 and is dropped back down to 9th. Anonyma in 10th. Senor Fak and a little bit of side-by-side action between Jezza and Eroticos. Jezza's had to completely bail out of the corner, and he's going to go wide. We've got 4 cars trying to go through the corner all at the same time here. Ethan and Deco have joined as well. Oh, Jezza incredibly wide and manages to keep his positions though, as we see Eroticos off track there. But Deco trying to get a move done on Jezza, who got himself a second penalty for cutting the exit of the bus stop. And very wide round there by Deco, and that is going to gift Ethan the position for now. Nice livery on Ethan's car there, monster livery. And Jezza's going to get the position back. So yeah, good bit of work there by Deco, sorry, not Jezza. little bit further up, what's going on? Kanata still fairly close to Revenge, but Revenge has caught up to Pyro now, so this has been a very strong lap by Revenge, and Pyro's P2 may be under a little bit of threat here. Ooh, is that a penalty for Pyro? That was pretty wide on the exit. He might have just saved it. At least some of your tyre has to be touching the red and yellow rumble strips there. Looks like Pyro got away with it, but Revenge is still going to have a run at him into the bus stop. Pyro going defensive onto the entry. Are they going to make it? Pyro gets the position. Survives now. Now he's got to keep it tight so that Revenge doesn't chuck his car in. Yeah, Pyro definitely holding him back a little bit at the moment. Kanata's starting to reel him in as well, so we're going to have a three-way battle fairly shortly. See, Peachy isn't too far in the distance at the moment. So this looks like a pretty decent exit by Revenge. Revenge's going to have the inside line for the following corner. It looks like he's starting to pull up alongside, and he's later on the brakes. Makes the corner pretty well. Pyro's going to have a little look, maybe stick his nose in slightly, and can't do anything there. Looks like Revenge has P2, and Pyro is going to have to consolidate this position because he's got two cars behind him still. And the question will be as well, will Revenge be able to catch Peachy? He's got 5 laps to do it still. Let's ride on board with Kanata and see how he negotiates turn 1. Everyone concertinaing together as the space completely disappears. Now he's going to catch up to Pyro, assuming he's going to give him a little bump down the straight. Actually, he's not. He's trying to look for space. Pyro sticking his car right in the middle of the track, making Kanata decide what he wants to do. Instead, Kanata gives him a little bit of a bump draft into the bus stop, and this closes them nicely up to the rear of Mr. Revenge again. So that's helped both of them out, to be honest, in terms of track time. Starting to, well, Prime Cole's managed to follow them around as well. And if they can work together, this group, they could catch up to Peachy before the end of the race, but if they don't work together, well, it's just going to give Peachy the win, to be honest. Or allow the lead car to drive away from this pack. Looks like Kanata struggled through that corner. He's a little bit, dropped a little bit off the back of Pyro there. Hello, Perry. Well, you have to wait and see. You have to wait and see if Pyro's going to win. I've never commentated on Pyro race win, unfortunately. I don't know how I would react if it happened. I'd have to make it. Just speaking of Pyro, he looks like he cut that, went a little bit too wide on that corner, the penultimate corner there. So I'm wondering, he might have got away with it again. He's been very lucky on 2 occasions not to get penalties so far, and he's still in the hunt, in the fight for P2 at least. Kanata's going to start catching up to him again at probably the exact same point in the lap in this first sector. Esports, yeah, esports will be interesting tonight. The strategies will be very different, I think, depending on the team. Pyro's got a run on Revenge. He's caught right up to the rear bumper of Mr. Revenge into the bus stop. Had to back out a little bit before the braking zone to avoid punting Revenge. And yeah, Revenge isn't actually driving away from these guys. He's not got that much of a pace advantage, to be honest. Kanata really doing well to stick with this battle, to be honest. He's not put a foot wrong after losing his positions, but the problem is this top 5 has been incredibly consistent in the race. A little bit further back, it looks like there's been a few more position changes. Bin has made his way up to 6th, back up to 7th after dropping all the way to the back at the start. Julio's still in 8th, Pagel dropped to 9th, he had a big penalty. Anonymous still in 10th, and then we see Astro's dropped to 12th, Eroticos having an absolute nightmare in 14th, and Ethan, who, well, he's had some big issues because he's in 15th, and our debutant Murismo at the back, but at the front, Revenge still only probably half a second ahead of Pyro at this point. What's my favourite livery on this grid? I do like that Renault, the F1 liveried car. This Toyota is alright. I like that Peugeot actually. Astro's Peugeot. I like this Jag as well that Ethan's driving. At least he's losing in style. But yeah, let's rejoin our battle at the front. We've still got a 4-way battle for P2. Revenge still not able to shake off this chasing pack at all. And it's not like they've been battling or anything. He's just not had the pace. Pyro's car has very similar tyre wear to Revenge's, so it's not a tyre advantage thing. This is all pure pace. Very close to Pyro. It must be very tempting when you know that the Mazda in front of you doesn't have the best brakes, and your brakes could do the job if you're brave enough and can execute the dive bomb absolutely flawlessly, make the apex, avoid punting the other car out to get the position. It is very risky, but it's very impressive when people can pull that one off. But I wonder if Kanata knew that this Mazda's brakes aren't very good. Pyro's starting to drop off Revenge now because he's starting to look in his mirrors quite obviously here. Kanata's looked like he was going to go for it. Let's ride on board so that we get some better angles. Kanata got a bit of a poorer exit out of that corner. Actually, he's under pressure now from Prime Call. Prime Call clearly coming from absolutely nowhere because Kanata didn't get do the final corner very well, and he nails turn 1. Kanata's going to have a chance of a cutback there, and he does manage to get alongside for turn 2. These guys are going to stay side by side. Oh, it looks like Kanata's actually got the position. So I don't know what happened to Prime Call in that corner. Maybe he had to lift very, very slightly, but it was enough to allow Kanata to get the position back. But it's not over yet. Prime Call does have the overspeed on Kanata. He's going to pull alongside. He's not alongside enough to try and get a move done. Kanata survives, but Pyro's not been able to drive away in this carnage that's going on behind him. So it looks like a very good corner there from Prime Call compared to the two ahead, but he couldn't take the width of the exit because Kanata's car was there. But Kanata goes incredibly wide and deep into that corner. He's going to get a fairly decent exit. Well, he would have if he didn't lose a little bit of traction. Now Prime Call is drag racing him down to the next corner. Kanata's car is starting to pull ahead because that M6 is so strong, but Kanata's got the inside line for the corner and he's just about got it. Kanata's still holding in on, and he's gonna get the position again on the inside if he avoids going too deep. Prime Call tried the switchback, but Kanata's car was in the way, and Kanata gets away with it. So this is the penultimate lap. Prime Call doesn't have much of an opportunity. It looks like Pyro's managed to get away from this drama as we head into the final lap of the race. Revenge is off in the distance, and Peachy is off in a world of his own at the moment. But yeah, very, very close battling, and it looks like Prime Call really had to back out and slam the brakes on for much longer than he expected to, because he was heading towards the rear of Kanata's car there. That's potentially let Kanata off, and well, at least into the bus stop. But he has to avoid making any more mistakes. He's been wide and deep in a couple of these corners, which has opened the door for Prime Call. Oh, bit wise there for Prime Call. He avoids getting the penalty because he keeps it on the rumble. But yeah, it looks like it might be over for Prime Call. A little bit further down, looks like Julio is pretty close to Spin in the battle for P6. This will be some more good points for Julio on this first race of Watkins. Senor Fak in 8th, Pagel 9th, and Deco looks like he's going to get reverse grid pole. He's got a bit of a gap to Astro behind, but we'll join Peachy because he's just about to do his final few corners. We've hardly seen him all race because he overtook Kanata, and then Kanata started falling back and he just completely drove away from the entire pack. So a bit of a Sunday drive in the end for Peachy, which must have been quite a welcome relief. He's going to have a harder time in feature because he's going to be starting in P10. But another win on his championship challenge. And yeah, very well done there for Peachy, finishing with a 47. Revenge in P2 there. Looks like Kanata's caught all the way up to the back of Pyro on the final level. Pyro gets the podium, Kanata 4th, Prime Call 5th. Looks like we're having a drag race between Spin and Senor Fak to the finish line. Who's going to win? It looks like it's going to be Spin who keeps 6th, Fak 7th, Pagel just in 8th ahead of Deco, and Astro in the top 10. Something happened with Julio on the last lap. And then we have Jezza 12th, Eroticos 13th. Anonymous dropped really far back after doing fairly well earlier in the race. He is 14th, just ahead of Ethan. And then we have Marismo rounding the final bend now. So, that was the sprint. Pretty good sprint. Very, very close racing. Very few mistakes in the top 5 at all. And any mistake was just such a minor one, but seemed to be punished quite hard. So, yeah, interesting. Very good result for obviously the BMWs and the constructors, and for Peachy in the drivers' championship. I think Peachy's in the driver's seat now, you could say. So as we head into the second half of the season, all eyes will be on him, and if he can continue winning races, because that's what it's going to take. It's nice to see in Tier 3 that consistency's improved a lot over the seasons, actually. Like, not many mistakes at all in that race. Whereas before, when I used to commentate Tier 3, there'd usually be every single driver would make a mistake apart from 1 or 2 across a race. So it's quite nice to see that the times are improving because of that as well. Right, let's get everything sorted and have a look and see if anyone's trying zany tyre strategy. Okay, Deco is on the hards from P2, so one to keep an eye out for falling back for sure. Also on the hards is Anonyma. Okay, everyone else is on the mediums. So we got 23 laps with just over 40 minutes of a feature race. Pit stop is mandatory, and you could do any tyre strategy you like apart from soft, but that is definitely not possible here on 5 times tyre wear. So we're off and running. Looks like a fairly decent start for the RCZ of Astro. Deco managed to close up to him in the run to turn 1, but this is where Astro should really start to drive away from that hard shod car. And yeah, Deco, already has been caught up by Pagel, who's trying an audacious move around the outside, completely nearly smacks the wall there. That's going to open the door potentially for Senor Fak to just go through. Senor Fak's got the slipstream, and it looks like Deco and Astro are having a little battle ahead as well. Astro wins that battle. Senor Fak slots into P3, so great overtake for him. Pagel is in 4th now, and Spin is in 5th, but let's see if Fak can get Deco. Deco's on the hard tyres. He's really struggling for grip around these corners, so Fak might be feeling confident enough to try and move around the outside, and it looks like he's going to pull it off. That's a fantastic move around the outside, a fantastic start to the race by Senor Fak. He's just got one more driver to go until he's in P1. This is a driver who's struggled all season, pretty much outside the top 10. It looks like Pagel had a bit of a mistake there, hits Spin a bit further back. Looks like Spin's spinning around now into the wall with Pagel, and he span again. 2 for the price of 1. And he's at the back. We need to see what happened there a little bit better. So we got Pagel fairly comfortably ahead. Let's go back. Yep, there we go. And yeah, Deco's wide. Pagel takes a little bit too much curve there. Nearly spins it. Spin for some reason, puts his car in the middle of the track instead of as far outside as he can. Then gets T-boned by Pagel, then gets spanned by Pagel. Pagel's off now. It spins last. Bloody hell. Okay. So, quite an eventful first lap. I really spoke too soon when I said it's impressive that all the drivers have stopped making mistakes in Tier 3, because what the hell was that? But, yeah, we're already seeing some good gaps as well. Senor Fak has just completely drifted away from Deco on his hard tyres. Deco's going to start getting caught by Kanata now, so good start for Kanata up into P4 in all that carnage. Revenge up into 5th, Prime Call up into 6th, Pyro up into 7th. Up 2 spots for Peachy, and Jezza is doing well in the top 10 after an anonymous sprint race. He's about to get overtaken by Pagel, who's trying to recover, and there's a little bump, and Jezza gets pushed out. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty, and game recognises there was a bit of contact now that Jezza is about to lose a spot to a Rotikos as well. So his great start is already coming undone because Anonymous trying to get a move done around him. Anonymous has to back out of it a little bit. It is chaotic in outside the top 10, that's for sure. Ethan lurking in the background there as well. Yeah, good corner there from Jezza, but yeah, he's struggling on these medium tyres so far. Meanwhile, back at the front, Astro Deco is under a lot of pressure from Kanata. Let's see what Kanata can do here. He might not know that Deco's on the hard tyres. Deco really struggling for traction. Took a little bit too much speed on those hards and really got punished for it. Great exit there for Kanata. It looks like he's going to take the inside line for the hairpin. It's not really a hairpin. Yeah, Kanata's got that one. He's got more speed on those mediums. They still have plenty of life in them. And he brakes a little bit later because he was a bit worried about getting bumped there from Kanata, but they managed to clear it. And Revenge has taken advantage of Deco as well, losing traction on the exit and just sweeps by much easier than what Kanata had to do and takes that position. So he's pretty close to Kanata still as we end lap 2. Next up on the list of cars to overtake Deco is Prime Call. And yeah, Deco really struggling to even hit the apex. It's quite a massive apex as well in turn 1. And yeah, maybe it's the change from soft tyres in these, I'm assuming it was on softs in the sprint, to hard tyres in the feature. You have to adjust your driving quite a bit, your braking points, especially for the big ones. He's done alright. I mean, the Supra we know is incredibly fast in a straight line, so it should really love Sector 1. It's good in the fast corners, but this is a bit of a medium speed corner, and it looked like it was struggling a little bit through there. McLaren is fairly strong around this circuit as well. We've got a very loud Pyro chasing him down as well. We've got a three-way battle here, so Prime Call needs to get a move on if he's going to make progress up the field, because Pyro looks like he's not going to wait around very long. He's thinking about a move. It looks like he's going to commit, and he doesn't. He backs out of it. The brakes on the Mazda aren't good enough to do an audacious move like that, unlike some of the other cars. And Prime Call much closer now. He's getting impatient. He's thinking about moves at corners where he shouldn't be thinking about moves. He backs out of it. Pyro's still very close. Gives Prime Call a little bump through the corner. No harm done. Excuse me. So, this has been a very eventful few laps. We got Peachy on the back of this now as well. Everyone going very wide on the exit. Pretty poor exit from Deco there. Prime Call just sweeps by. Pyro will be tasting blood at the moment and wanting to get a move done into the bus stop. It looks like he's got massive overspeed on Deco. Deco and Prime Call both going defensively. Now Deco's going to try to get alongside Prime Call around the outside because that McLaren struggles once you get into 6th. There's been contact. And Pyro takes avoiding action, which gifts Peachy a place. Pyro the unlucky one in there. Let's rewind and see that again. Contact between Deco and Primecall. Deco just turns in a little bit too much and Primecall's car's there, and then Pyro has to completely bail out of the way to make sure he doesn't make contact with anybody. Unfortunately, that just allows Roblox or Peachy to swoop past both of them. He's potentially getting this move on Deco as well. Oh, nearly a little bit of a shove there, but Deco gets the position for now. It's all getting a little bit hot under the collar for Deco, I think. The pressure that you put under having to defend like this is really, really difficult. It's probably like one of the most difficult things you could do in a feature race. Start on harder tyres at the front and have all these cars trying to overtake you at every corner like this. It really affects your strategy as well, because you're losing so much time. But he's still putting up a fight. He's still ruining their strategies as well by keeping them behind for so long. But it looks like Peachy's going to finally get that position. Pyro and Pagel are the next two. So, oh, very wide by Deco. That might be a penalty. Pyro's definitely got the position. I don't know if he backed out and lifted enough. No, there's the second penalty. So it wasn't the right strategy, basically, starting on the hards. Yeah. Oh, good little save actually for Pagel. And it looks like no more moves are going to be done into here at least. Primecall's got quite a big lead on Peachy because of all that battling. And up ahead, Revenge and Kanata and Astro and Fak. Did we see the overtake for the lead? I don't think we did. Oh, it was just a penalty. What a way to lose the lead of the race. Astro's first laps that he's led in ALR, unfortunately about to come to an end here. But it was only one position he lost. But yeah, well done to Senor Fak, who, let's go back to where we were. He is leading a race for the first time this season on merit. I'm not sure if he started right at the front, but I don't think he stayed at the front very long if he did earlier in the season. Had a terrible, terrible season so far, has Senor Fak, compared to last season where he was winning races in the R8. Which isn't one of the best cars, but he found a way of driving it by the end of the season was super fast. Maybe the same thing is happening again this season. It just took him a few races to fall in love with the Renault, because he did pretty well in the sprint and he's found his way to the front already in the feature. Astro is going to come under a little bit of pressure, it looks like, by Kanata, who takes that corner so much better than Astro. Here we go, Kanata's got a run on Astro. Is he going to do it into turn one? Astro decides to go defensive. Completely entitled to do that at the end of the corner. You're allowed one defensive move per straight, and he wasn't in the braking zone. And there was a little bump. So that gives Astro a bit of a slingshot up the hill, and it's probably going to be enough to avoid a challenge from Kanata into the chicane, because he's still going to benefit a little bit from Senor Fak's slipstream on these straights. The red triangle, so that flashes, that's an assist. It is like an anti-spin assist or something. I can't remember what it's exactly called. It does cost you time though if you have it switched on, like in outright pace. It's one of those kinds of assists. Oh, very wide into the entry. Is he going to try and get a good exit? It's not going to matter too much because Astro's got himself a 2.5 second penalty, which is going to drop him really far down. So second big bout of penalties in the same time, and he's outside of the podium positions. He's probably staying ahead of Primecall. Yes, he is, into this lovely little hairpin. And then we've got Pyro's still pretty close to PG after they've all been picking their way past Deco. Deco still has cars trying to overtake him, so it doesn't look like we're quite at any kind of crossover point between the hards and the medium tyres in terms of outright pace. Erotico's looking very impatient behind Jezza there, having a bit of a twitchy moment. Mind, Deco's still maintaining an alright gap on Jezza. I don't know what's going on with the camera angle there. Pyro could have a chance to retake PG. Pyro's not completely out of the running in terms of a championship battle, by the way. But if he wants to stay in, he not only needs to be getting the top 6 results that he's been getting all season, he needs to be consistently finishing ahead of people like PG. And obviously, the odd race win wouldn't go amiss, but that's expecting too much. Really poor bus stop there from Pyro. That's going to allow Pagel to close the gap a little bit on his teammate. Pagel doing much better in the feature race than he did in the sprint, it's got to be said. Deco still solidly ahead of Jezza, who is still holding up Eroticos by the looks of things. Then, yeah, Anonymous really struggling on his hard tyres as well, down in 13th. Marismo made some good progress ahead of Ethan and Spin, who have had nightmare starts to the race. Well, yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's Astro serving another penalty. Bloody hell. This is the race from hell for Astro. Was leading the race quite comfortably, no mistakes, and now they're creeping in, and I have a feeling it's to do with the tyres starting to wear, and they're sending him a little bit wide in some of these corners, and he's just getting penalties for it. He needs to adjust his driving style as the tyres start to wear. Otherwise this keeps happening. Pyro's 43 points behind Peachy. Okay. That is one entire round's worth of points. A sprint race, a feature race, and the 2 fastest lap points and the pole position points all add up to 43. So that's what... he needs Peachy to be surrounded him to win everything, and then the level. We've seen bigger points deficits get reduced though in second half of seasons. It's quite funny how a season can progress. Also, the tracks matter a lot. We've had tracks that all favour certain types of cars really in the opening section of the calendar. It's going to change a lot. Sardinia is very different to Alsace, which is very different to Nürburgring, and Interlagos is another one. So we might see completely different cars at the top as the meta car for each of those tracks. Right, up above, Kanata has seemingly caught Senor Fak pretty quickly on this lap, because Fak had a much bigger lead than this. So let's ride with Senor Fak and see, because Kanata seems to be on an absolute charge at the moment. Spin has the fastest lap, but he's down in P16. It is a quick lap though. I'd be surprised if he got beat, unless people go onto soft tyres. Not expecting to see soft tyres though. Yeah, Kanata is probably a second back at the moment, which is definitely the closest that he's been all race to the leader, that's for sure. A little bit of a twitchy exit from Revenge just behind Kanata. Struggling to keep the pace with these top guys, that's for sure. Lovely first corner from Senor Fak. That is how you need to take it. You need to hit and take plenty of curb on the inside, and then on the outside go as wide as possible without getting a penalty and carrying as much speed as you can. But talking about speed, it doesn't matter too much when you're in a Renault which doesn't have good top end speed. Kanata is looking for a move. He's looking for the race lead here. He's got the inside line and he's ahead. Senor Fak has to back out of it. Kanata hits the apexes and gets P1. Great bout of overtaking here from Kanata, and he's going to have a great opportunity to just march away with this. So we might see 2 different BMW winners tonight. The pole sitter is at the front, finally, of the race in Watkins Glen. Yeah, Kanata takes a very interesting line through that corner, takes it very deep, which loses you time ultimately, but it does give you a good slingshot up the hill. A little bit further back, let's see what's going on with these guys. Deco is in 8th place, but he's got a 2.5 penalty, so he's going to fall behind Eroticos, who's slowly making his way up the field. Jezza, he did get past. Pagel's all the way down in 11th, and his tyres are completely shot. He's got, I don't know how he's going to do a one-stop at this rate. Deco looking to get past him. This is where obviously Deco's superior tyres should be benefiting him a lot. It looks like Pagel is struggling to make these corners, with, and he's twitching on the exit as well. He's really struggling here. He's got some damage on his car as well, so that's probably why he dropped back. He's going to obviously have to continue on for another lap, because otherwise he'd have to two-stop. But yeah, he's really not managed his tyres well at all. Yeah, Deco's surely going to get Pagel up the hill here. Pagel deep into turn 1 as well. He might be overtaken already into the corner. And yeah, Deco gets that position fairly comfortably, and it looks like Pagel is just going to start falling backwards now, because he's going to have to stay out for the rest of this lap and at least one more lap. Probably, yeah, he's going to have 2 more laps on these tyres. They might go completely red by then, so let's see what's going on at the front. Looks like Kanata is driving away from Senor Fact. Prime Call's getting caught by Astro, and I don't know what happened. Revenge has actually come into the pits and put on hard tyres, so he's going to try and do a medium hard and stay out to the end of the race on these hards. Not sure that's going to work out well for him. He might get a bit of an undercut on some of these guys and then quickly get overtaken again. So this is definitely advantage Kanata. He's got 1 more lap to do. His tyres are looking pretty good. Senor Fac's rears are starting to struggle a lot more because of the MR-FR difference in the cars, but he should be fine for 1 more lap as well. Still lapping solidly in the 47s and 48s. Prime Call's tyres, we know the McLaren's still fairly good, not OP like it used to be on tyres, but it shouldn't have an issue there in doing the last lap. Astro's struggling quite a lot, should still be fine. Pretty similar for Peachy. Pyro's really struggling as well. You wouldn't guess that the Mazda has great tyre wear when Pyro and Pagel are at the wheel. Yeah, Jezza might be struggling at the end of this lap as well. Pagel has bailed out. He's decided he can't do another one on these tyres, so he's going to try and go all the way to the end. I wonder if he's going to put on hards or mediums. Julio is also in the pits, so pretty early for these guys. They'll be fairly slow at the end of the race if they're going to be doing a one-stop after all. Looks like he's gone out on mediums again. Let's just wait until he leaves the pit exit for the confirmation. And yeah, Pagel's come out on mediums. Julio is out on hards for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, these guys are struggling around the final few corners of the lap before they come in and make their pit stops. I'd be very surprised if any of these guys stayed out a lap longer, because the undercut is absolutely massive here when you're on fresh mediums compared to worn. Obviously, the fastest laps have been in the 55s for these guys on the mediums. I think Spins must have been on some soft tyres. And they're down in the 47s and 48s at the moment. Still, this is a strong in-lap for Kanata. He's only 1.7 seconds off his best time. I think his best time's not that impressive, though, at the moment. And he's definitely coming into the pits. Is he going to avoid? Yep, it looks like he's going in just fine. Senor Fac is following him around. We've got a little bit of a gap to Prime Call, who's coming in, as is Astro and Roblox. Pyro is coming in as well. Then we've got Jezza up into P7 again, ahead of Deco, who's up into P8. Deco carrying on for another lap, and is he going to be able to get around? His line was compromised, and that will cost Deco a little bit of time. Jezza in the pits, Eroticos in the pits. Anonyma is carrying on. Then we've got Ethan and Revenge. Revenge with a second penalty as well. Just about to come around the final corner, so let's see what Revenge is going to do in terms of track position. Because I was thinking he's potentially getting a undercut on some of these guys. Excuse me. And there is the BMW M6 of Kanata. So this is the net race lead that Revenge and Kanata are battling side by side for. Looks like Kanata's just allowed Revenge to go through. So Revenge is the net race leader here because Kanata had the race lead and he's put in a lot more fuel than what Revenge has put in. I don't know how Revenge is going to get to the end of the race, to be honest. But he, nevertheless, looks like he's got the lead of the race. He's going to serve a second penalty and lose that lead to Kanata again. So maybe Kanata just decided not to fight it too hard because you can see that giant 1 second penalty dangling above Revenge's car. So this is still all on track for Kanata. A little bit further down, Prime Call is behind Kanata now with Peachy, Pyro, Astro, Jezza, Pagel, Eroticos. Where is... who was right behind? Oh, looks like we've got some battle going on between Pyro and Astro right now. Astro trying to get past Pyro. So Astro's not done too well here. He's really trying to get past Pyro, but he's lost a few positions in the pit phase, it looks like. And he's got that position on Pyro with a beautiful overtake around the outside. And yeah, showing his class there with that overtake. He's a really good driver, Astro. I think he's going to do well in ALR. Just needs to find his footing in the right tier for sure. Now, it looks like Ethan's come into the pit. That might have been a little penalty that he's going to get. Revenge has dropped behind Kanata, right into the middle of the space between him and Prime Call, actually. So Prime Call is now net P3. Peachy's improved to net P4 now. Then we've got Astro and Pyro having another battle. Pyro's got past Astro again, so Astro must have made a little bit of a mistake. Astro already thinking about a move again on Pyro. It's not really the place to do it. This also isn't really the place to do it, but this he's about to enter the golden period of overtaking. I don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, this is the best overtaking spot on the track, and it looks like Pyro's defending pretty well. He's always sticking his car in the middle of the track there, so he can't. So basically, you're compromising the other driver either way. They're gonna have to do it the long way around or go incredibly tight into a corner and kill themselves essentially. So that's why he's doing it. It seems to be working out pretty well for him at the moment, keeping Astro behind after retaking him after initially getting overtaken himself. So yeah, this one might rumble on for the rest of the race. Senor Fak, actually, man, I'm so stupid. This is the net race leader. I don't know what's going on with me today. I need to sort myself out before restarts though. Senor Fak managed to jump Kanata in the pits, and the reason for that is Fak has massively underfueled compared to Kanata, and that's why I completely missed it. I was wondering where he was. I was getting him confused with Astro, to be honest. He's he's just massively underfueled, and we know the Renault's really good on fuel, so he'll have had much less fuel to put in compared to the M6 anyway. If he can take this little fuel to the end of the race, he's got this wrapped up. Kanata will be able to push flat out though, and you kind of have to in the M6. There is a little bit of short shifting you can do. That doesn't cost it too much though. He had 9% more as well coming into the pits. That's the thing about the Renault. It's not got good top speed, but that's because it's saving all of its fuel. It's kind of like the Lexus now in terms of fuel. It's a great feature race car, as long as you can keep with the chasing pack. You'll get them all in the pits because of the fuel, and on top of that, the tire life on the Renault is fantastic. If you're good on your tires, you want to be in the Renault because you can do stints without them. Oh, not if you do that. You can do stints without them going off to the extent that other cars will be struggling at the end of stints and get some easy overtakes. And you don't need top speed to do that, you just need the tyre life. So yeah, definitely one of the best cars on the grid, and we might get another Renault victory today. And it's interesting because we've seen Renault win in Tier 1, that's Viking, a Renault win in Tier 2, Mate, a Renault win in Tier 3, Eroticos, now we've got Senor Fak leading in a Renault, and a Renault's won in Tier 4 as well with Autoration. So it's not just like one driver pulling this performance out. It's good consistently, and they've all won at different tracks as well. So this is an interesting car for strategy in ALR nowadays. Up there with the Lambo in terms of most improved cars from the physics update, that's for sure. Let's look at Deco for a second. He's nearly out of fuel. He's nearly got punctures on his tyres, in, well, puncture territory at least. He's still out. He's enjoying his moment in the sun. He's been P1 for a good few laps now. Is he going to go on mediums or is he going to go on softs? I don't think you can make softs do 8 laps. Well, I know you can't, especially not in the Supra. So it'll have to be mediums, but maybe he's just worried that he's going to burn through the mediums super quick. The new physics update has basically rendered trail braking as obsolete in GT because it will absolutely shred the tyres if you're trail braking. You need to learn how to use the throttle to turn the car rather than the brake to turn the car now in Group 3. And if you can do that, then that is going to save you so much tyre life. Also, coasting through corners is really helpful as well. So yeah, just brake in a straight line and don't turn when braking. So he's got half the brake applied whilst he's turning into the corner. He should have none of it basically, or like a tiny amount in order to protect the tyres a little bit better. That's something that I had to completely relearn after this physics update. I don't think I've got the hang of it fully yet. Here we go, into the pits comes Deco, so let's join Senor Fact because he is going to retake the lead of the race. The good thing for Deco, he's going to have a huge pace advantage on these guys. So he's got maybe 3 seconds on Kanata at the moment. Kanata really, well, lapping fairly similar. He was only a 10th quicker than Fak on that lap, so he's got to find a lot of pace or hope Fak starts making mistakes. So we got a good little battle for P3 shaping up. Looks like a little bit of a deep entry into the corner from Mr. Revenge. It's going to open the door for Peachy potentially to get a move done on him. Remember, Revenge is on the hard tyres, so he will be dropping back. He's lost a place to Prime Call already, and now he's about to lose another one to Peachy. It looks like it's just a matter of time. These two were, at this point, championship rivals, the top two by some margin in the championship. And Revenge keeps the position, but yeah, it's going to be a tough last 5 or so laps. If Revenge can keep ahead after that, he might have a more comfortable final couple with the switchover in tyres starting to become more apparent. Yeah, Peachy's looking a little bit impatient. He's not having to take every centimetre of the track to make these corners. He's just stalking himself behind. He's looks like he's weaving behind Mr. Revenge. I don't know what that was. Maybe trying to distract him a little bit into the turn, but Revenge was wise to it, and Peachy's got to wait a little bit longer to get a move done. Peachy, of course, is on esports team. He's racing tonight for Arex. We're at Kyoto tonight, the long version of that track. Oof. Nearly got him there, nearly got him. It's good defensive driving by Revenge. Oh, really deep on the exit of that penultimate corner, and Peachy might have a chance into turn 1 here. He'll have a better exit. It looks like Revenge is already going defensive. Peachy's going to take his slipstream. It might not be enough into this turn. It looks like Revenge really went back to the racing line probably a little bit too late there. Could have caused an incident. Really wobbly on the exit, makes a little bit of contact with Peachy. Peachy's going to stick his nose in, and he's got the alongside, and he's going to get the position, it looks like. And that was a fairly straightforward overtake, really taking advantage of the medium tyres to get that position. And our championship leader is going a little bit defensive, quite robust defending there, and it should be a little bit easier in these next corners, unless Revenge really decides to stick. Oh, come on, that was so dumb. What was that? Oh, it looks like he's letting him back through, or is he? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like he is. Okay, he understood that was a dumb move, so credit to him for that. I was about to start going off. I was about to be very confused why it wasn't reported as well. So he was learning, before his demise. Oh! Pyro says thank you very much. That is a huge setback for Revenge there. And now Astro might be wanting a little nibble as well. Oh, great little switch back there from Astro. Astro's going to get that position comfortably. Revenge really struggling on these hard tyres now. And it's what we basically saw happen to Deco at the start of the race is happening to Revenge now. When you're on the hards compared to the mediums, it's just no contest. I learned this in Autopolis last season. I decided to do a hard strategy because I didn't realise what was going on with tyre wear at the time. And yeah, people were just driving multiple seconds a lap quicker than me, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. And that's what's happening to Revenge now. So a huge strategy error for Mr. Revenge. Let's give a little bit of love to Senor Fak at the front. He's extended pretty well on Kanata, so he's lapped his last two laps 46.2 and a 46.8. 46 flat and a 46.4 for Kanata, so I'm not quite sure where the gaps come from because it looks bigger than it was previously. Anyway, Prime Call all on his own in P3. We'll have to see if Peachy can do anything to chase him down. He's now got Pyro behind him. Pyro's tyres are a little bit worse than his as well, so he's in a comfortable position at the moment, Peachy. Astro doing very well in P6. After those hairy laps where we saw 3 laps in a row where he was getting time penalties, he's regained his composure, and if he didn't have them, he could have been, well, should have been in a top 3 position, I reckon. So he's got the promise. It's not bad. Like, this is essentially a debut, I'm classifying it. Debut in the tier that he belongs in, because we gave him the short end of the straw by placing him in tier 1 and then in tier 2. So yeah, those are just some evaluation races, I guess. I don't know. Deco on a bit of a charge now. He is on medium tyres. He's all on his own in P10. He should be able to get 1 or 2 positions here. Let's talk about Rotikos a little bit. Rotikos was the championship leader after round 2, lost it in round 3. He's having a disastrous round 4. He's on course to get overtaken in the standings by Pyro as well. So he's going to drop a little bit like a stone. He needs to find a bit more consistency in the second half of the season, that's for sure. I keep saying that's for sure, that must be annoying. In order to, yeah, get back in the championship hunt. He's not cut adrift. I think it's far too early to cut adrift anyone who's within, I'd say, 50 points of the championship leader. Also racing tonight in esports for V2 is Eroticos. Eroticos is part of the team that is trying to get into the top 5. They're currently in 6th place, and there's only a few points between P5 and P6. So he'll be hoping to contribute a good chunk of points tonight. Let's see if anyone else is racing tonight. Deco's on standby to race tonight, so we might see him, we might not. We've got 3 drivers in there. Kanata's not racing, and it's just Peachy, the other one. And then obviously Pyro and myself will be commentating. It's like Pyro's got caught by Astro in these last couple of laps, so Astro really on a charge at the moment. Feeling a lot more comfortable now. Oh, Kanata is driving. Are you? I thought it was Mortal and Skyline and Eroticos. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for watching instead of practicing. So that's good. I think that's what, 3 or 4 potentially tier 3 drivers represented tonight. We also had Scotty score a podium in Lobby B. I think that's the best result for a tier 3 driver in the esports, a Lobby B podium. I would say Lobby A is like tier 1 on steroids in terms of how difficult it is. And Lobby B is probably like, if you took all the aliens out of tier 1 and put the quickest guys from tier 2 in, that is probably what I would say a Lobby B is at the moment. But then sometimes there's some guys that try and join from lower tiers, and unfortunately it's very difficult for them to score points because you only get a point for 10th place in Lobby B. So basically a top 10 result for these guys is amazing, but potentially not contributing too much to their teams. So anyway, while I was yapping on, Astro's lost a bit of time to Pyro, so we'll find a new battle. It looks like the top guys are all fairly spaced out. Kanata's still not too far back, but Senor Fak is not making any mistakes at the moment. Putting in one of those very composed performances I was talking about before the start of the race is Fak and Kanata, both of them, and Prime Call, and Peachy. And Pyro, I don't think we've seen any mistakes from him. So the top 5 once again, no mistakes from these guys, and they've wound up in the top 5. That's how you do it in Tier 3. Astro should be in the top 5, but made mistakes. Revenge has made a mistake in terms of his strategy. Horrible mistake. Eroticos has made mistakes earlier in the previous race, which started him too far back to make much of a difference. Yeah, and then Deco, another one who's made a mistake with the strategy, unfortunately. But yeah, key takeaway from a race like this, because we've got Alsace coming after in round 6 as well, which is even higher tyre wear than Watkins Glen. Just learn how to brake and take corners without ruining the tyres. Turn the volume of the tyre noise, which you can do in the sound settings, to the maximum, so you can actually hear what's making the tyres screech too much, because if it's making that noise, that's what's causing the gauge to go down on the left. And then you just need to figure out a way of doing it without losing any time. So good luck. It's a learning process, but it's like we've been given a new game with every physics update that we get, which is quite nice. Something new, a new challenge. It keeps the game fresh. If everything just stayed the same, then I think people would lose interest, to be honest. It would get too predictable, wouldn't it? Astro's starting to reel in Pyro a tiny bit now. Revenge is too far behind, I've got to say. I don't know if the tyres are going to start going off a little bit. Pyro's tyres are struggling the most, it would seem. Yeah, definitely Pyro's are struggling the most. So we'll see if Pyro drops back at the end. This might be the final 2 laps where Mr. Revenge might have an advantage on the medium runners, but he's still got to get close enough to even have a go, to be honest. How are the tyres going a little bit further back? Jez is struggling on the rear. Everyone else is comfortable. Spin's going for fastest laps again. Just wants to be its own fastest lap. Treating it as a test session, isn't he? So let's stick with Pyro and Astro, because there's nothing else going on actually on the whole track apart from this, to be honest. The battle for P5. The man who's done an ungodly number of Tier 3 races at this point, Pyro, and the man making his Tier 3 debut in Astro. Very close all race long. Both fairly decent and consistent races by the looks of things. Astro hasn't made any big mistakes, it's just the track limits that have got him, to be honest, in this race. And we've seen some really impressive overtakes with him to get back into a good position as well. But yeah, losing a bit of time now. So Pyro must be pretty nervous. He's got 2 more laps, and that front left tyre is very, very low. Like maybe between 5 and 10% left on it. He's just got to nurse it home. He's still driving pretty composed. His last lap was a low 48, so you want to be staying in the 47s. He went a little bit wide on the exit of that corner. Obviously, his car's not gripping as good as it was previously. But yeah, he's still making the corners. So this is what I was trying to explain a little bit earlier with one of the guys. I can't remember who. Their tyres were completely gone, but they were making mistakes out of every corner. It might have actually been his teammate Pagel, but Pyro's tyres are completely gone, and he's really minimizing the mistakes. We saw a very slightly hairy moment there, but he regained his composure. He is getting caught by Astro now, and the opportunity might come on the final lap, which we're entering now. Pyro's going defensive into turn 1. He's going to have the inside line and take the full width of the exit, but Astro does a great switchback once again. He's done this multiple times in multiple corners, and it looks like he's going to get the position on Pyro. He's ahead at the moment. Pyro's got the inside line now. They're still side by side. Revenge lurking in the background as well. And Astro's got the inside line for bus stop. It's going to be a drag race. The Mazda is pulling ahead as we head to the braking zone. They are going to go side by side into the bus stop. Is there going to be any contact? There is a little bit of contact. Astro gets shoved out the way a little bit. Pyro keeps the position. Astro is now side by side with Revenge. Revenge going to get the position of Astro. So a disastrous couple of corners for Astro. And yeah, let's rewind and watch that from Astro's point of view. So we've got side by side. And then he's just a bit too slow on the acceleration, gets caught with his pants down by Revenge, who manages to stick his nose in. Nothing wrong with that move at all, to be honest. I wonder if Astro thought Pyro was a little bit at fault there. Not the cleanest of moves. Wasn't reported to the stewards, so obviously my opinion on it doesn't matter. But yeah, potentially could have got a little penalty. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about it. But anyway, Revenge is trying to get another position at the end. His tyres are much better, obviously, than Pyro's. Pyro's tyres have maybe 1% life on the front left. And Revenge has the inside line for the corner. There's nothing Pyro could do about it. Revenge gets that position fairly easily. And now we've got Astro trying to get that position back as well. Pyro having to completely back out of it. He doesn't have any confidence in his tyres anymore. Meanwhile, right at the front, we've got Senor Fak, who's going to take his first win of the season. Very, very well done. Huge improvement from him on previous rounds. Kanata, a very strong P2 again. I think that makes him the highest point scorer of the day, including the sprint. Prime Call, a solid P3, always getting strong results in Tier 3. Peachy P4, championship leader. Revenge does get P5 from Astro. Pyro down in 7th as his tyres died at the end. Erotico's in 8th place. Then we've got Deco rounding out P9. He does get one position, that's on Jezza for 10th. We've got quite a big gap down to some of these drivers. Julio on hard tyres dropped all the way down to 11th. Behind Pagel, who's on completely dead mediums, just like Pyro. So neither of them doing a good job with the tyres today. Anonyma in 13th place on the hard tyres as well. Ethan on the mediums, rounding out in P14. Then we've got a bit of a gap between Marismo and Spin. Spin with the fastest lap, obviously, and Marismo struggling on his debut here. Let's see if he can improve for next week around Sardinia, where we'll be. But he's going to be 15th, taking home the final point. And Spin's going to still score a point, but it is the fastest lap point as opposed to a finishing position point there. So, yeah, interesting. BMW's miles ahead in the Constructors' Championship, and it is a 1-2 in the drivers as well. We've got Peachy 14 points ahead of Kanata. Revenge has been removed from the server, so he is not in the championship hunt anymore. So that's it from me. That was a pretty good couple of races, to be honest. We've got esports coming at 8 p.m, so that's just under 2 hours time. So yeah, join me in Pyro for that. It'll be, and of course Vexman is going to be doing Lobby B as well. Should be very interesting around the super tricky course, to be honest, where there's going to be multiple pit stops, I'm sure. So yeah, join me for that. Thanks for watching.